Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I am really cold today. I'm super tired, and it's time for coffee for me today. I know it's kind of late in the afternoon to be drinking coffee. Not unheard of for me, but I've been trying to cut back on it. I've been trying to protect my sleep a little bit more, especially now since I'm just feeling tired with the season change. So today I couldn't help it. I gotta drink some coffee. It has been a really, actually, the temperature-wise, it's been a pretty nice day out there today, but it has been just incredibly windy. So super, super windy day today. So it's hard to even be outside. And I did not have the best run this morning. I think I got a little bit greedy. I was feeling so optimistic about the knee that I hadn't taken a rest day in a while, maybe 4, maybe 5 days. And I did 7 miles each the last 2 days. And so today I did the 7-mile loop again. And at mile 5, my knee just didn't give out, but I was like, nope, I think that's pretty much it for today. So I had to walk 2 miles home. And that took a while. And it was not, well, it was a nice day at that time. It wasn't, well, it was windy, but it wasn't cold. So it wasn't a bad walk. It was just a walk I didn't want to take. So that was that. Tomorrow I'm thinking it's going to be a bike day. Just relax and take it easy on the bike, and then yeah, we'll try again. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do a short run. Maybe I'll do the 5-mile loop, or maybe just run 3 miles even, just kind of like an out and back, and then hit the bike a little bit just to see. Probably should just do the bike all day. So that's where I'm at. How are you guys doing? We got Frank LaHoulier here, Jody, Recycle on Wednesdays, Omar. Some of you guys talking about the debate yesterday. I didn't watch it. I had a feeling I wouldn't want to watch it, and I'm glad I didn't. But it's very entertaining to watch some of the response to it afterwards. So I've been kind of following up on that. So I'm aware generally how things went. Yeah. Philip Bourne says, not familiar with how it works in the U.S., but aren't there more parties than just Democrats and Republicans? Technically, yes. Practically, no. It's just the two. Yeah. So that's the unfortunate part of it. I think, yeah, dark times. We're in the midst of very, very dark times. Yeah. So I anticipate that we'll have 4 more years of dark times. That's what has been my fear for the last year now. And the closer we get to it, the more I think that's what's going to happen. So it'll be time to lay low. Speaking of laying low, I guess is the opposite of speaking of laying low. But I owe whoever is doing the Dyersville fish fry. So I'll just say I owe the town of Dyersville an apology. I've been complaining and ranting against them because October 3rd, which is that this Saturday? Yeah, this Saturday or Friday or something like that, Saturday. They're having a fish fry. And I was like, why would you have a fish fry? Why would you do that when, cases are spiking in this county and across this state? But I found out 2 days ago, that fish fry is a drive-through only fish fry. So they're still doing the event, but they're trying to do it as responsibly as possible. I think the more responsible thing would be to not do it, but at least it's going to be drive-through only. So I apologize to the town of Dyersville. You did not deserve my ire for that particular thing. There's other things that have been annoying, but that one, they're doing all right. Roadrunner Reviews is here. Danny J. Jared Tanuwid Jaja says, yo, yo, yo. Awesome. Good to see you. Kevin Bickerton's here. Rainrunner. Awesome. Life Love is here as well. A little dab on that icon. Is that what that is? I think I'm trying to look at the emoji. I was just trying to think of it today, and I think what I need to do is figure out a way to get the computer up here, or I don't know. Maybe I wonder if there's a way that I can use get a teleprompter set up to show me what's on the chat somehow, so that way I can still look at the camera while reading the chat. I think that would be a little bit more helpful, because I just feel like I'm always looking down. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to make more eye contact. Nico De Simone is here. Even though it's 10 p.m. in Italy. Well, I appreciate that. That'd be staying up late for me. Although I'm usually up at 10 o'clock, but I'm pretty much like a zombie. I'm not very useful by the time I get to 10 p.m. Ryan Pauly's here as well in his Dunbar. Innes said he had a good 5K with Pip in the rain today. Oh, that sounds like fun. As much as I don't like rain, but like, I just feel like running with the dog. I don't know. I go back and forth. Do I need to work on my mother-in-law's dog some more? Do I need to try it? I feel like the dog might enjoy it. And I mean, like now, I don't know. Maybe it's time to revisit that. Rainrunner says, not sure she'll keep watching or he'll keep watching any of the debates at this point. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not planning on watching the debates. This is the first time though that I'm like very interested in watching the vice presidential debate. That I'm keenly interested in, but the presidential debate, I just don't. No, I don't think there's much going to be there. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? There's not going to be any. No one's going to have a shining moment. No one's going to have a surprising low. I'm unsurprisable at this point. And I'm also like not expecting to be impressed by either one of them either. That's the unfortunateness of it. I kind of felt like once everything happened earlier this year in June, I felt like, man, I really wish we could just do a redo on the entire Democratic preliminary system and repick who the presumptive nominees are. I know it's expensive and that's just the way elections go, but like I just really feel like it's a different world now. Even from like March to June is a very different world, and so I feel like we need a very different leader. So that's kind of that's kind of like what I wish we could have done. Ed Chan says, don't get disenfranchised. That's exactly what Trump wants. He doesn't want you to vote. That's what will result in 4 more years of this. Americans, please vote. Even in Canada, this is painful. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly voting. Don't get me wrong. It's very easy for me to figure out who to vote for this time, for me, but and for my wife. But it's just I'm not super excited either way. I mean, I'm much more excited for one versus the other, but I'm also very pessimistic / realistic in terms of what's coming. So. Steve says, please can you help? Still getting weird heart readings with Apple Watch. I don't normally track, so it might always happen. With the OH1 stream data to the watch generic workout app, non-cellular. You know what? That's a good question. I don't know if you can, can you pair a regular Bluetooth sensor? Oh, sorry, my Apple Watch is dead. I don't know if you can pair a Bluetooth sensor to the regular app. You can certainly pair it to any of the other apps that are there, so it is pairable. I think it is. Yeah. So it's possible. You might just not be able to use the default workout app, but that's not the best workout app to use anyway, so I would consider changing. But yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think I ever used the workout. I think I used the workout app once, but I don't remember if I paired it with a heart rate monitor at the time. Akram Farid says, how did you quickly your marathon times advance? Ran Baltimore 2019 first time ever in 6:45. Am I insane for shooting for sub 4 hours next year? Lost 70 pounds since Baltimore. I would say it's not insane because you have now a marathon training block under your belt, assuming you're healthy now, in terms of like knees, joints, muscles, all that kind of thing. I think that if you continue, you have another, the Baltimore Running Festival is usually like in October, right? Like late October. So you've got I'm assuming it's not going to be this year. So you've got 13 months to prepare for it. I think it's definitely possible. I think that you can have, I don't really know what kind of shape you're in coming in before for 6:45, so I can't guarantee it, but I think that you can make a lot of progress if you spend the next 13 months building up a lot of base, getting yourself in a couple of races here and there once that's possible again, and pick a flatter course. That's the biggest thing that I would recommend. That Baltimore course is insane. It's so hilly. So maybe that that'd probably help you out quite a bit too. Let's see. Recycle on Wednesday says, I skipped a run last week to go register in my new state and get a ballot. Awesome. Good work. Congratulations. Tony Masia says, late but here. Hello, everyone. What's going on, Tony? Good to see you. Chrisia said, I submitted my DNA to Genome Link to receive a nutrition and fitness assessment. Results indicate I'm more genetically predisposed for sprinting and power versus endurance. Interesting. Oh, that's cool. Genome Link, you say? I might try that. Because I've always said that I'm a lot of slow twitch muscles. Or what's the kind they say that can go either way, depending on how it's trained. I feel like I'm really heavy on that kind, but it's leaning towards wanting to be slow twitch. So, Frank Lahudi says, your vote in Iowa will be much more influential than in Illinois. Yeah, well, I'm going to be voting in Chicago. So, it's going to be one among many. But here, it's it's kind of like spinning in the wind because, I don't know. Here's how I'll put it together. Today, they announced that the Iowa Department of Public Health is allowing for counties to publish COVID data by zip code. And so in this town, New Vienna, which population about 600 people, there have been 28 cases of COVID. There are about that many Trump flags in this neighborhood. So, that's a lot of households with Trump flags. So like me voting the other way is not going to do much. I don't know. They say that the Democratic candidate she's going after the Republican senator, junior senator. They say she's got a 3-point lead right now. So I find that hard to believe. I think it's really going to depend on how much of the urban vote comes out in Iowa. But yeah, in this county, if we were residents here, I don't know. There's like in the 20s in terms of like Trump flags, they're proliferating. There are more Trump flags now in this neighborhood than there are American flags. And there's tons of American flags in this neighborhood. Like on this block, this is the only house that doesn't have a flagpole on it, but at least on this side of the street. But I think now there's more Trump flags than there are American flags, which is fine if that's what you believe and you're passionate about that. Power to you, I guess. I don't think that the vote would do very much over here. I guess, but we don't vote here, so it's not. I guess not my business. In a way, I guess. Justin Swartz says, "Is this a running discussion or a political one? I tune in to talk running sports, not to hear more political BS opinions." You're probably in the wrong place, Justin, because we very rarely actually talk about running. Occasionally, I'll answer like a running question. But, the whole point of these live streams is I kind of let them go. I don't ever have an agenda, except for Monday Mukbang. The agenda is to eat something on a Monday. And Tuesday Trivia, when I ask trivia questions. Yesterday's topic was cheese. So the rest of the days, it's kind of like wherever everyone else takes it. I like to think of it as this is the place where it's a conversation that people have like after their run or maybe during their long run with your running buddies. That's kind of what it is. And you don't always talk about just running with your running buddies. Some of the best conversations I've had with my running buddies or during a run have been not about running. So that's kind of like I leave it open. I don't try to moderate it too much. So sorry about that. Yeah, Ryan Paul says the rest of the days we talk about pizza and kettle chips. That's true. And cheese. Yeah, we talk about a lot of food is pretty much every day. Food, a lot of pooping, So I guess that's kind of running talk. James Paul says, when do you think races will start back up again? And when do you think you'll be comfortable running in one? Oh, two very different questions, but very good questions. I think that races are starting up now. So, it depends on like what you mean by races, like in terms of size. So like the Instagram people on Instagram that I follow in Chicago, like they're going to I won't call them pop-up races because they're like, but I don't think they're USATF certified races. They may or may not be, but they're like, very small. Like they're not going to have like a big web sign up and like rent out a convention center for like packet pickup and stuff like that. But some of the running clubs are starting to put together races complying with all applicable social distancing and other corona guidelines. So like those are already starting to happen. There was an ultra trail race here in Iowa, about an hour, maybe 2 hours drive from here, that went off seemingly fine, I guess. They were allowed to have it. So, I mean, I guess that's a different thing. But on that note, Farley, the next town over from Dyersville toward Dubuque, they have like a dirt racetrack, and they've been holding races like all summer long. But anyway, so I think like smaller races will happen. I think a lot of trail races will start to happen in the U.S. When will I feel comfortable doing one? I guess it'll depend on my living situation, if we're still here with my in-laws, but most likely it'll be after I get a vaccine and after everyone in my family can get a vaccine. So that's probably my answer. So, based on guidance from the federal government, like 2 weeks, right? Yeah. Josh Wiggins says, do you have a favorite race so far? Chicago, Houston, etc. My favorite race was the Tunnel Marathon. That's just a lot of fun. I mean, it helps that I had a really great day. One of those days where you're like, I don't know, the day was so good, can I even count that time as being a time that belongs to me? Like, it was that kind of day. But it's also just like, I did it with a friend, and it was in beautiful scenery, and it's just a lot of fun. And it was different than anything that I kind of was expecting and that I've ever done before. So it was just a lot of fun. Tunnel Marathon in just outside of Seattle, Washington. Yeah, Danny J says, speaking of SL20, I don't think anyone was, but here we go. We'll get the sound for the word of the day on that SL20. Danny J says, Adidas reminded me today that I'm still part of their pro program. Totally forgot. Now I can get the SL20 for about $30. That's just bonkers. That's absolutely bonkers. I pay more for my compression sleeves, and calf sleeves, than I pay for than that. That's kind of crazy. Ed Chan says, have you finished that Murakami running book yet? It's one of my favorites. Oh yeah, I finished that in like 2 days, like 3 days. It was great. It was really good. Yeah, it kind of felt like I was like looking into the future. So it connected with me on that level. Ryan Polly says, Adidas needs to make an SL20 in wide. Had to send them back. Adidas' shoes this year all were really long. They were like, they still kind of, I felt like that they still fit consistent with how Adidas shoes tend to fit, a little bit snug. Not quite as snug as like Nike shoes, for example, but snug. But they were also wide, like long, I'm sorry. So they were really long. All the shoes were a little bit extra long this year. I just don't understand. I think it was a purely aesthetic choice. Or maybe I'm imagining that, but I just felt like they were all long. Amos Norman says, reaching 2,000 kilometers in my Beacon version 2s this week. Would you recommend getting new version 2s or trying the version 3? I haven't tried the version 3, but I would say that, wow, you got 2,000 kilometers out of your version 2, your Beacons? That's insane. I mean, I assume it means you really, really enjoy them. So I would say get the new version 2s again. Or get a new pair of version 2s. Get the same one again. My understanding is that I think it's pretty much the same shoe, but I haven't tried it. So I know there's slight changes to the upper. It's still fresh foam ground contact. So like midsole should be pretty similar. But I mean, any shoe you can get 2,000 kilometers out of. I mean, I'd never gotten anywhere close to that. But if you can get 2,000 out of yours, I'm going for the same one again. Mike House says, do you remember the first, where'd it go? It says, do you remember the first video that you put the What's Going On song at the end? I'm not sure. It would have been, I think I've been doing it for a long time. It was at about the time that they started making like the end cards, like that you could put all the stuff, like you'd be like, click here for like, sometimes like family vloggers would have like, here's yesterday's video, or here's like, and then you put a link the following day for like, here's tomorrow's video, like so you can like pick which one you want to go to next, or like you'd be like, here's a video from last year, that kind of thing. Like right when that feature started getting to be a little bit more robust, that's when I started doing the end card to begin with. After a while, I just stopped doing the end card because it just was so annoying, because you have to fully upload your video and then you can do it. So basically, like, I'm always like rushing to get the video posted. Once the video is rendered, I upload it, and then I can enter in all the information and hit like, submit. I don't forget what the button actually is, but it, like, submit. And then I'm pretty much like done with it in my mind. The thumbnail's there, the tags are there, and the video's there. To do like the end cards, you then have to wait till the video's been processed, which loved your bit of that race, like all your other bits. Oh, thank you. I think we just had a little bit of a connection issue, so hopefully I'm back. All right. Yeah, Ryan Polly streamed that. I think I'm back. Shannon Side says, whoa, late for the convo, but I am so in for the tunnel. That should be a race that we should all go do. I feel like we should get like a group together. Well, let's have a team, because I think they have teams on that race, don't they? Let's put a team together. I think that'd be fun. That'd be a fun race to do. And like, I mean, it's close to Seattle, so you can hang out in Seattle, but there's a hotel that's really close to there too. So we could all like stay there as well. So that'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Daniel M says, unrelated to anything else we're talking about, did the artist fit similarly to a Nike Pegasus? No. I mean, I went with the same size in each one, so I feel like both of them are true to size, but the artist has a little bit more room in the forefoot, and for me was a little bit tighter around the heel. So like the Pegasus, ever since they went to like the heel flare design, was that the 35 or was it? Yeah, the 35. It wasn't the 34. It was a 35. It's always been like a little bit loosey-goosey in the back. It's never a big problem. It just doesn't feel tight. But the artist, it just feels like it's clamped onto the back of my ankle in a good way. Like it doesn't feel like it's there until I try to take the shoe off, and it's like just about impossible. So I have to like completely untie it and loosen it to get it off, because it just fits back there so well. Yeah. Yeah, Jane like Grammy says, Team Co for the Tunnel Marathon. Yeah, I was disappointed to hear that they canceled it this year. I thought that it could have gone because of, it's kind of a trail race. And there was only like 6 aid stations anyway, and there isn't like really a lot of room for spectators along the course. There is that part when you're running in a tunnel for a mile straight, which is basically like being indoors with a whole bunch of other runners huffing and puffing, which I suppose could be a problem. But, I was disappointed to see that it couldn't go. And it says, I think the Tunnel Marathon is a step too far for a camper van trip for him. Gonna have to pass. Yeah. I was just watching today, what is it, Team Charles Barclay, Lucy Charles. They did a camper van conversion, and I was like, oh, that looks really nice. It's very different what they did to her van, to make it like she could put her like triathlon bikes or like road bikes in the back, and also like sleep in it. They could sleep 4 people in that like Volkswagen like minivan thing. Very different than like when I watch Going RV here in the US, just like really strange to see how different things are in Europe versus the US, in terms of like our ideals of like space and convenience, while on the road. But yeah, like I think I would like camper van lifestyle if it were like running related. I don't think I could be like the kind of person that lives in a van like permanently. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Kane says, London Marathon, great story about Dan Nash, who tweeted asking if extra runners could be added, and he's now included on Sunday. He's fast, TBH. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. That's super amazing. Oh, man. Yeah. Can you imagine that if you were just like throwing that out as a tweet and you were like me, like not even a 3-hour marathoner, or if you're like a 4 or 5 hour marathoner, and then they just let you on anyway, because like That'd be awesome. I mean, you get to represent like the rest of the field. So then you'd have like, the elites and then the rest of the field. That'd be a lot of pressure to represent like the rest of all of like the general public. Man, that'd be pretty awesome though. Can you imagine like if that person's running and then all of a sudden like 19 times he just gets whizzed, like other runners whiz by him? That'd be crazy. Tyler Eads says, Zero shoe ads are driving me insane. Has anyone tried them? Which one is that? Is that the one with the guy with the long hair asking, like, if at the end of the run, do your feet feel more energized than at the beginning? Is that guy? I've been getting, if that's the guy you're talking about, I've been getting that ad a lot. Thomas Gallardo says, hey, Kofuzi, what shoe do you like better for a 3:30 marathon, RC Elite or Endorphin Speed? Ooh, both of them I think would be really good. I might lean towards the Endorphin Speed because I think it's got a little bit more cushion in there. But I have to test the RC Elite a little bit further to really see what it feels like, more than, I guess, 5 miles in, which is as far as I take it. So, as far as I've taken it. So, like, yeah. But I think I'd probably lean towards the Endorphin Speed. Yeah, Chris, says, I don't wear comfortable shoes and you shouldn't either. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of, YouTube has been feeding me a lot of ads, but also videos for barefoot running. And I think the reason for that is I've been looking up all these like videos for like knee pain and stuff, and glute exercises. And when you watch those, you get like how to avoid pain when running. And that leads to then minimalist running videos. And then that leads to like barefoot running videos. I also watch Rich Roll from time to time on YouTube. I listen to him mostly, but I watch from time to time. And so that also leads me back. So like everything on YouTube now is like John Oliver and barefoot running. And triathlon. Lucy Charles Barclay. Those are like the 3 things that are on my YouTube right now. So it's kind of like the algorithm has been really weird to me lately. Yeah. Danny J says, if Danny were like the non-elite ambassador for the London Marathon, he'd feel like an imposter. I mean, but like your whole purpose there would be to be like the non-elite, like the regular ambassador, and it'd be like my dream for like Olympic type sports. And especially like track sports, where I think that like it's so easy to look at all like the elite marathoners and be like, oh, they're running. My friend Jimmy runs. Like I feel like it's easy to do that. But then like when you put them next to like a regular human being, then you get a sense for just how fast they are. And so I think it would be good for the sport too, to be like, this person is, runs a 3-hour marathon, is in probably the top 5% in their age group, and probably in the top, like 3% of any race that they ever enter, small or large. And they lined up against like the pros, and they got lapped on the first lap, like kind of thing. I think that people will be like, whoa, that's insane. But I also feel like everyone would be rooting for that. So that person, that runner. So I just think that it'd be a lot of fun to see that. Danny J says, speed over the pro in a marathon. In a marathon, I'd probably pick the speed personally for me. I just don't think that I'm like pro enough for the pro. For a half marathon, I might pick the pro because I think then I'm going fast enough to really like activate that carbon fiber plate, if I can use that ambiguous term. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. It's getting bright. The sun is breaking through some of those clouds finally. Paul Kane says, Cal Patton, it's also Alphafly versus Vaporfly. But Kaylee says he's had some issues with Alphaflies. I saw that. Was it Ben Johnson or someone like that posted something about it? I forget who it was. But I saw that today, and I thought that was really interesting that he's not going with Alphaflies. But Bekele ran in the Vaporfly next percent when he ran Berlin. So I think that he's had good success with it. So that would be interesting. Yeah, Abraham Acosta says, shave your mustache. I think that's a spoof account that my wife is running. Abraham Acosta must be. Frank Lillier says, Bolt was the first person I ever saw run and could just tell that they were running just way fast without looking at the clock. Yeah, my favorite for the sprints, when they do sprint coverage, is when they have that robot on that slider, and it looks like a giant cyclops, and it just like spins around the track and like keeps track of the runners. Like, I love that angle because you're like at ground level and you see the track like spinning by the camera, and you get a sense for just how fast that is. And I just think it's so amazing. And then like you'll get the angle. The camera's moving and all the runners are moving too. And then like at the kick, when they just like kick ahead, it's just so impressive to watch, to see that thing go. So like, yeah, I like anything that helps you get a sense of perspective. Like the one scene there's like two scenes that I really remember from, what's that movie? Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. It was about the Spruce Goose. Aviator? What it was? There was two scenes that I remember. One is like the room full of jars of pee. That one, that like stuck in my mind. The other was when he was trying to film that movie in California about the airplanes dogfighting, and he waited for like a month. He kept the entire crew, all those pilots, everyone there for like a month or so, to wait for a day with clouds, because without the clouds, you didn't get a sense for just how fast and agile the planes were and how talented the pilots were. I just feel like it behooves the people that are filming these events that you have to find a way to capture that. And if that means you got to get a non-elite representative, I say go for it. Oh, yeah. Let's see. What was it? Ed Chan said something. I wanted to get to that one. He says, there's a couple dudes at Barefoot Run, the same concrete and asphalt paths that I run on here. My joints hurt whenever I see them. There's this one guy that I met. I ran with him. I don't know. Yeah, I ran with him. Did I run with him? I think we just chatted one time on the lakefront path. His name was Matty O'Brien. He does a lot of bicycling now, so for whatever that means. But at the time, he had been barefoot running for several years, except for in the winter. In the winter, he would run in the leather bottom shoes, the sandals that wrap around like your big toe and then it like ties around your calf and stuff. He would do those because otherwise the salt would like eat up his feet. But he would barefoot run all the time, and I was like, how do you do that? He's like, it took a long time, but the hardest part was like getting used to like your feet cracking open because you're on the concrete and it's really drying. But yeah, he used to do that on the lakefront path, which is all concrete, and I was just like, you're crazy. Dave Judson says, my sports physio constantly moans at me for wearing cushion running shoes. He insists barefoot running or minimalist cushion will cure my knee pain. I think that what's interesting is how much like the barefoot and minimalist, like those VivoFoot, it makes sense to me that there's like a small segment of like the running, like the trail running and like the ultra running community that are into that. That makes sense to me a little bit. It also makes sense to me, but it's kind of peculiar that it's like the CrossFit / like weightlifting bunch that also run a lot. Like if you're coming to running and you're a passionate runner but came from like a gym weightlifting perspective, you tend to be a barefoot or minimalist runner. I don't know if like I think it's like a Joe Rogan effect, but I also just think that people think a lot about like form and like the physiology that way, and I think that like then like talking about it from like barefoot running makes a lot more sense. And also I feel like a lot of CrossFit runners generally aren't like ultra distance marathoners. I know there are people that are in that Venn diagram of those two things. It's not a lot though. So I feel like that also like makes it a little bit easier to adopt that. So like I would ask your physio, like, how far do you run? You saying you're going to do that for like a 15-mile run or a 20-mile run on the weekend? I'm not sure. But like, having been fed that from YouTube and having watched very recently a lot of barefoot running videos, I'm like, a lot of that stuff does make sense. But I'm still running in 35 millimeter stack height Bondi 7s with ortholite insoles inside. But it's a 4 millimeter drop shoe, so it's kind of like I'm running in a minimalist shoe, right? No, it's not. Namaste says, I don't want to give out my top secret, but have you tried Topo shoes? I haven't. I've ran in a couple of Ultra shoes, which are the zero drop as well, but I haven't tried Topo. But maybe I'll take another. Maybe it's time for another look. Martha and not really Hank Aaron giving me some love on the mustache. Yeah, I was thinking the other day that I was like, I don't know about this mustache, because I just have been very frequently like been doing like, look, what's that? And then like there's like a mustache hair in my mouth, and it's just kind of gross. But like on today's video that I posted on Instagram, I was out there and it was like the wind was blowing like crazy, and I felt like I was in a wind tunnel, and I just felt like the mustache really looked good, flapping in the wind, kind of. I don't know. I just really liked it, so I thought it was fun. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think I'm just gonna keep it until the world starts to normalize a little bit. So that's like it's a weird visual reminder of what I'm not sure, but that's kind of what it's there for. J. Mike Remy says, I like to see weight classes in races. I'm not fast, but for 185 pounds, sure ain't slow. That's interesting. I don't know about that. I feel like in the running community, it would be like a recipe for like just hyper igniting people's like eating disorders and weight disorders already, which I think is a pretty common like affliction in the industry or in the sport. But like, is it? I mean, like would Galen Rupp, who is really tall, I don't know how much he weighs, but would he be in like a different weight class than like Seth James Demore? Not that he's tiny, but he's a lot smaller than Galen Rupp is. And then like pound for pound, who's the better runner? That's interesting. Yeah. Tyler Eads says, everyone is sleeping on Mosinette Garamu. This guy could pull out a win if it turns tactical and doesn't dip below 202. I suppose that's possible for that could be said for a lot of people. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who Mosinette Garamu is. But, I mean, it's a 2-kilometer loop that has like almost zero elevation gain. It's almost perfectly flat. So, I guess by tactical, it's not going to be, I feel like it's going to look more like a 10K on the track, like a 10,000 meter race, than it will look like a regular marathon race. So, like, I feel like what will be interesting is that, like, I don't know, it's not a loop, it's a loop course, but there's no switchback, so it's not like you'll be able to see really who's behind you. I don't know. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of very interesting like twists to that race. Paul Kane says the weather looks like rain in Lundy Sunday morning. Oh, that changes things. What if the weather's not good? Dave Helm says, what has been your go-to shoe with your knee issue, or is that impossible with the shoes coming in? It's not impossible, because there's certain days where I have to try certain shoes, or I don't have to, but I try to schedule them in. My go-tos have been I like the Ultra Superior a lot. I don't know if it's only because of the zero drop or because it's a really soft shoe. I like that one. The Bondi 7's been really good to me as well. The Torrent 2 was also really good to me. So those are some of the shoes that ended up being really good. The DNA Flash has not been as good to me, and the Boston 9 were they were fine, but I felt the knee right now wants just a lot of cushion, a lot of softness. So those aren't at least at the paces I was running, they weren't soft. So that's what's kind of been going on. Let's see. My cow says, if your heel rubs on the top of the back of your shoes, does that mean your shoes are too tight or too loose? I think it just means that the shoe is rubbing on the back of your foot. Because it could just be different shoes fit different people differently. So I don't know that that's necessarily one thing or the other. I would suggest a taller sock. That happens to my wife all the time, but hers basically the part of the shoe that touches like where the Achilles is, that always really rubs her, really like her Achilles, and she gets a lot of chafing there. And I would like, I want to try to find the least offensive way to suggest a taller sock. But we only have so many. We only brought so many clothes with us, so I don't think she has any right now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about if it means that the shoe's too tight or too loose. I feel like if the shoe should just feel comfortable. It shouldn't feel like you have to really like cinch it down. Those are signs of like that the fit is not as great if you really have to tinker around a ton with the lacing. Life Love says, what's your advice for an ankle injury besides going to see a doctor? I mean, ankles are trickier, I think, because there's so many bones and ligaments in there. I don't know. I mean, the advice that I would normally give for things like shin splints, it's like heat, ice, and Advil, right? Heat before, ice afterwards, and ice pretty much throughout the day. But you know, that's not great advice, but that's how you can get. That's how one can get through it. So those are the things that I might think about: heat before, and then icing it down afterwards. But you know, people have been telling me as I've been like investigating my knee issue. People have been telling me if you have a problem in one joint, examine the go like one level up. So like for me in my knee. People are like, you should look at what's going on in your hip and your glutes, and I think that they're right. And for you, if something's going on in your ankle, I'd look to see what's going on in like your knee in that area. Is there some knee strength or other muscle strength that you need to work on to like stabilize that ankle? Yeah, Jeff Elliott says rest, ice, compression, elevation. The classic Rice advice, which is good. Lyle McGowan says boost or was it react? Sorry, the thing jumped. The comments always jump on me whenever I start reading. Yeah, boost or react. I like them both a lot. I really like the Epic React and even the Epic React 2, which was basically the Epic React 1. But I like boost when it's in the Boston 9. I did like the Ultra Boost 20, but it was pretty much just like a solar boost. So I thought that was good too. But I'd say which is better? They're both good. They're just different. But if I have to pick one, like if I like it when other companies use Boost. I think that like Adidas is using Boost in very just heavy ways. I don't think that has to be so heavy, the shoes that they make with Boost. I know Boost is a heavier material, but I don't think it has to be. So like, you know, the way it's implemented, I mean, you're basically asking like Adidas versus Nike. I like it Nike more than Adidas, but I think I like Boost the material more than I like React the material. I think. It's close. It's a good question. Matt852 says, been wanting to try Hoka's, but I think my feet are borderline wide. Do Hoka's run narrow? No, they don't. So I think that if your feet are borderline wide, I think you might be pretty happy trying Hoka's. Although people have, for me this year, I've thought that the Bondi was wider than it was last year, but the Clifton was narrower than it was at last year. I think other people have said the exact opposite, like the inverse. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I do think that they used to be like very, very wide foot friendly. I think they've been kind of bringing it in overall. If we're like looking, I feel like they've been bringing it in a little bit, but I do think that they're more wide foot friendly than say Adidas or Nike, which we were just talking about. Yeah, Martha says it sounds more and more like you need to get a diagnosis. I agree, Martha. I mean, yeah. And hopefully it's not something that would require surgery. But I feel like if I got a diagnosis, the treatment would be rest and just get off it for a couple of weeks, which I kind of like avoiding, but it might, I might be getting there. But Martha continues and says, but in the meantime, it's good to use cushion if that keeps it from escalating. Yeah, I think that I really just need to keep it to like, you know, my earlier plan that I had made before I got greedy about it is probably what makes a lot of sense. You know, taking a rest day, quote unquote rest day, but just like a non-running day, maybe a bike day every like third day is probably what's better. And then keeping the mileage low, 5 to 7 miles, and then supplementing with more bike if I want to be out there for longer. So. Scott says, tips to reduce blisters on side of the big toe. Are you running in running socks? Like that'd be like the first thing that I would consider. And if you're getting blisters on the side of your big toe, are your shoes fit? I mean, I would think that maybe you need a bigger shoe. I don't get blisters on the side of my big toe. Not really. Hank Aaron says no socks in Iowa. I mean, there are, but like, you know, when we came from Chicago, we only brought so many clothes with us, and she didn't bring like her tall socks. She brought like her summer socks. Kenny Hillburn says, what up? What up, Kenny? Good to see you. Let's see. Mike House says, I'm investing in taller socks. Thanks. I mean, I hope that's it, you know. I know that they also make shoes or socks with like more cushion in the heel area. So like if you go to like a specialty sock place, kind of like I think Stans and Balega might have something like that, where they like focus on different areas. So that might be another place to look too. Yeah. Someone was saying something about a lot of Ultra fans in here. Where'd it go? I can't. No, that's not it. But JC says, I like Ultras too, but I've stayed more injury free when I mix them in with others in the rotation rather than running them exclusively. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've never run in them exclusively, but although when I had the Ultra Escalante, I think I ran in them pretty much like every day for a while. And that was nice. I like that shoe. I miss it. I kind of wish I still had it, but I got rid of it. Let's see. Soul Brother says, need size advice, please. Ultra Torn 4.5 flush. I normally wear size 10, but heard that ultra sizing can be a bit variable. About to buy online. They run true to size. I've not tried the Torin at all, and not the 4.5 or the 4.5 plush, but I've had 2 ultras, and I went with the same size in each of them, and that worked out fine for me. So I'm not sure. I think there's others here that have probably worn that shoe and maybe be able to give better advice on that one. Daniel M. says, you know what doesn't make any sense? How is a pickle 0 calories? What black magic is this? Something so good to not be 0 calories. Is a pickle 0 calories? I'm not sure about that, because there's sugar in it. Like sugar and vinegar and salt. I mean, that's how you make a pickle. So I don't know. Like, I guess maybe if you have like a pickle slice or a couple pickle slices, but like if you were to eat like a pickle, I think that would be at least a couple of calories. I know a cucumber is not that calorie dense, but I don't know. Jeff Elliott says, this may sound odd, but I think I get more impact in my hips when wearing highly cushioned shoes. Well, I think that what the minimalist running crowd would tell you is that because of all the cushion, your body is not doing the things it normally does to absorb the impact. I think that's the way the argument goes. And so like it's basically just like stomping on the ground because it's your foot is trying to find that feel, and when it can't get it in the foot strike because there's cushion in there, it just does things to make sure it can feel it. You know, it's like it wants to feel alive kind of thing. But I think that's where it's coming from. But I mean, I think that, you know, it's an important observation for you to make, and that I think it can help you making sure that you're running in shoes that work for you. Yeah. Tony Masi says, mustard is 0 calorie. It's a free flavor. Not really. Hank Aaron says, there's no sugar in pickle. I mean, I suppose it depends on the kind of pickle. I thought there was sugar in pickles. When you pickled stuff, I thought you sugared it too. Martha says salt and vinegar, so maybe I'm wrong on that. I mean, I've put sugar in when I make pickles, but I usually do a quick pickle, not a long-term pickle, so maybe that's the difference. Chris, yeah, says pickle trivia. How much pickles are in a peck of pickles? That's pretty funny. Ines says, I heard that you burn more calories eating celery than it contains. Yeah, I don't know. Not when you put like a whole bunch of nut butter on it, though. That's the way I eat it. Charles Ventura says he's on day 5 of no running due to plantar fasciitis. Sad emoji face. Looking outside is making me sad. Haha, he says. How much longer do you have on that, Charles? Hopefully that's going to clear up soon. Sonny Lewis says, books on running? Yeah, I love books on running. I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I run. My David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me, is probably my favorite. Yeah. All right, let's do one more, and then I got to get going for today. And it says, yes, the nut butter would tip the balance in terms of eating celery. And people are kind of backing me up. Some people are saying pickles do have sugar. I think it depends on the type of pickle, or like what the recipe is. I think there could be sugar in pickles. But like when I pickle stuff, it's like I'll quick pickle like some red onions, or like purple cauliflower, something weird like that. But then I'll put like basically like boiling water, a little bit of vinegar, salt, sugar, and then just some whatever other seasonings I just feel like throwing in there. I kind of make it up. All right. Sunny Liz says, counting when running, I'm bad at it. I can't do it. For example, during my latest 8K time trial, I couldn't count to 8, or I couldn't do math. I ran 5K, and for some reason at the moment, in the heat of the moment, I thought I had 2K left. So that was wrong. Anytime I try to do any sort of things on the track where I have to run a mile, if I'm doing mile repeats, I frequently mess up counting to 4. So that's just something I can't do. But one of the things I do is I try to do simple subtraction whenever I'm running in very cold temperatures, and I use that as my gauge for like, is this too cold for me to be running? So I'll like run and I'll be like, here's how many miles I have left. I run 12. I was gonna run 15 today. That means I have this many miles left. If I can't do that math, then I usually try and find a way to like, if I'm on a lakefront path, I might get in and then like go warm up somewhere before I finish. It's that kind of thing. We'll end with this one. Namaste asks, GPS watch recommendation. Good value and not $1,000. I will say that I think 2 really good ones I would say are, I haven't run in this one, but I think it's pretty highly regarded and I think it's a great option, is the Garmin 245. I think that's a good one. The Coros Pace 2, if you can get it. It's still a new watch, so I think it's sold out in a lot of places, but the price is really good on that one. So that is probably like the 2 that I would give if you're looking for like your first GPS watch. The other thing is, I do think that the Apple Watch is a pretty decent device. But I don't like using the regular app. We started kind of like the live stream today talking about using a heart rate monitor with the default workouts, the workout app. I wouldn't use that one. I would use a different app. But like Workout Doors or iSmooth Run 26.2, those I think are a little bit better. So yeah, those are some that I would recommend. All right, I think that's it for today. Everyone, thanks everybody for tuning in for the running talk and the not running talk. I enjoyed all of it. Hopefully you guys did too. Tomorrow's video, it's going to be a special one, a new product launch. An unboxing is going to be involved. Vegetables will be involved, so that should be fun. And then it's Thursday, or tomorrow's going to be Thursday. So tomorrow's Thursday. Thursday will be happy hour for the live stream, 3 p.m. same time tomorrow. Hopefully see you guys there. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.